some men leave, and life moves on. The messages stop, the calls stop, the relationship ends, and eventually they become a memory. But then there are other men. The relationship ends too. Years pass. People change. Life happens. And somehow, a part of him is still there, not in her life, in her mind. And the strange part? It isn't always the richest man. It isn't always the most handsome man. And it definitely isn't always the man she loved the longest. So why him? Welcome to Love Uncensored. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some men become old memories, while others become impossible to completely forget. Let's break it down. So here's the question. Why can a woman move on from one man, but struggle to fully forget another? The answer is surprisingly simple. Your brain does not remember people. It remembers significance, and significance is created by emotion, because the brain is ruthless every day. It throws away thousands of ordinary moments, ordinary conversations, ordinary days, ordinary people. But the moments that changed how you felt, those survive. Now here's where most people get it wrong. They think women remember the man who gave them the most money, the most gifts, the most attention, the most effort. Not necessarily, because years later, people rarely replay presents. They replay feelings, the feeling of laughing until their stomach hurt, the feeling of being understood, the feeling of being seen, the feeling of being completely themselves. That's what the brain saves. Now think about this. Have you ever heard a song and instantly remembered someone? Not because the song was important, because the feeling was. That's how emotional memory works. The brain doesn't save the event. It saves the emotion attached to it. And sometimes, one person becomes attached to hundreds of emotions, which makes forgetting them feel almost impossible. Now, here's the twist nobody talks about. The men women remember most are often the men who made ordinary moments feel extraordinary. A random conversation became unforgettable. A simple walk felt meaningful. A normal day suddenly felt different. Not because of what happened, because of how it felt. And your brain pays attention to feelings more than facts every single time. Now let's go deeper. Most people think attachment comes from time. It doesn't. Attachment comes from emotional impact. That's why someone you knew for 6 months can leave a deeper mark than someone you dated for 6 years. Because the brain doesn't count years. It measures emotional intensity. And emotional intensity leaves fingerprints on memory. Now, here's something slightly uncomfortable. Sometimes a woman isn't missing the man. She's missing who she became around him. Read that again. Because it's powerful. Maybe she felt more confident, more beautiful, more understood, more alive, more hopeful. And when those feelings disappear, the brain starts linking the loss to the person. Suddenly, she's not only remembering him, she's remembering a version of herself. And that's much harder to let go of. Now here's where things get dangerous. The brain hates unfinished stories. Absolutely hates them. That's why certainty is easy to move on from. But uncertainty? Uncertainty lingers. Questions linger. What if we had met later? What if things were different? What if we had one more chance? And once those questions exist, the brain keeps revisiting them, trying to solve a puzzle that may never have an answer. Now let's make this painfully real. Years can pass. Someone can be happy, successful, in a completely different chapter of life, and then one random thing happens.
A song,
a smell, a place, a photograph, a familiar phrase, and suddenly, for a few seconds, they're back. Not physically, emotionally. Because emotional memories don't disappear. They wait. Now here's the truth nobody likes hearing. The most unforgettable men are rarely trying to be unforgettable. They're not performing. They're not chasing validation. They're not desperately trying to impress. They're simply present, authentic, Emotionally available, comfortable enough to let people see who they really are, and that creates something rare. Emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the most addictive feelings a human being can experience. Now watch this carefully. One man spends years trying to impress. Another spends years trying to connect. One gets admiration. The other gets remembered. And those are not the same thing. Because admiration lives in the mind. Connection lives in the heart. Now here's the final truth. When a man creates emotional safety, excitement, authenticity, curiosity, connection, emotional presence, the brain stops treating him like an ordinary memory. It upgrades him. He becomes a reference point. The person future relationships get compared to. The person random memories return to. The person who quietly lives inside stories that are still unfinished. And that's why some men are impossible to forget. Not because they were perfect, not because they were rich, not because they looked like a movie star, but because they made somebody feel something meaningful. And meaningful emotions leave long shadows. So no, the most unforgettable men aren't always the most attractive. They're often the men who made someone feel the most alive. Because the brain doesn't hold on to faces. It holds on to significance. And significance is what survives long after people leave. And if somebody came to mind while watching this, somebody you weren't planning to think about today, don't worry. That's not a coincidence. That's emotional memory doing exactly what it was designed to do. Now think about this. Who in your life changed the way you felt about yourself? And why haven't you completely forgotten them? And if this video touched you in any way, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe. Beautiful soul. Until next time, protect your heart, but never stop loving.